Good morning, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Folks are walking in. My name is Tammy Hendricks. I am the Director of Health Equity and Outreach at Access Health Connecticut. We are not talking about health equity today, but we are talking about health and wellness. So thank you for joining our panel discussion. So we'll be covering health and wellness offerings and how that can positively impact your small business. And of course, the benefits range from employee retention, increased productivity, right? Lots of different benefits there. And so we have three great panelists for you all this morning, diverse perspectives on health and wellness topics. So we have Eric LaPointe, the owner of Pointe Fitness and Performance. We have Allyson Powell. She is with UConn Health, EAP, and Allie Geilich, partner, so close, who's the lead HR consultant at Boss Consulting. Thank you so much for being here. Starting with Eric, if you could just introduce yourself, give us some background, and then we'll go down the line.
Thank you, Tammy. So Eric LaPointe, I'm the owner of Pointe Fitness and Performance in Glastonbury. I've been a personal trainer for 15 years. I consider myself a movement specialist. I have a simple philosophy as a trainer of assess, educate, and motivate.
Awesome, thank you, Eric. Allyson?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me this morning. I'm Allyson Powell with the UConn Health Employee Assistance Program. I manage the services for our internal faculty and staff at UConn Health, about 5,000 folks, but we also have 30 contracts with some of the smaller state agencies, the smallest being about 9 employees, the largest being us. So we do support Access Health and some of the other folks that are here today. DECD is one of our contracts, and again, assessment, brief counseling, and referral.
Thank you so much. And Allie.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Allie Geilich from Boss Consulting HR. We are a small business human resources consulting firm. So we support small businesses throughout the tri-state area with whatever their human resources needs are, including health and wellness benefits administration.
Thank you so much for being here. Okay, so I will dive into some questions that I have, and then we'll open it up for you all if you have any questions for the panel today. So we'll start with Eric. Eric, from your experience as a fitness center owner, what do you think are the key components to an effective wellness program, especially for small businesses when they're implementing this? And what are the benefits of investing in a wellness program?
Yeah. Thank you, Tammy. So I get clients all the time asking me, just from a one-on-one perspective, what supplements should I be taking, right? It's a very common thing. And my question back initially is going to be, well, are you doing the free stuff? Most people aren't, right? So there's easy things as a small business owner that you can start doing that are free right from the back. And from a one-on-one perspective, are those clients getting high-quality sleep consistently? Are you hydrating? Are you, getting sunlight on your eyes before 10 a.m. And exercising, right? So from a small business perspective, it's easy, right? Well, do you have a water cooler, right? Most people should already have a water cooler, but there's different companies out there right now that make like flavored water, like Bevy is a water cooler system that makes it more enjoyable, because people are saying, well, water's boring, right? Sunlight on your eyes, right? And that's actually pretty vital to health. Right? So I see a number of clients right now, they're stuck in a cubicle for 12 hours, right? And I kind of joked here just now that in an hour, I'll get a text, I'll check my phone, there'd be 50 text messages from my friends. They're not really working, they're bored. They are. So getting sunlight on your eyes, you're going to be more alert. It's going to improve cognitive function. So those are kind of those easy levers you can kind of pull. So taking walks outside, it's going to be very easy. When in doubt, take meetings outside. Is your office really conducive to sunlight, right? But the biggest thing that I always hear of concern is just time. You got to make time available for your employees to work out, right? The number one thing to increase longevity and cognitive health performance for any person is strength training, right? And most people just do not have time, right? We're working families. I have 2 young kids. I get done at work at 5, and I'm picking up the kids. I'm getting home at 6, and I have to actually play with my kids. And 7:30, 8, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, right? So making time for your employees during the day is going to be vital, right? And from a benefit standpoint, they're going to love you for it, right? They're going to, if you make time for your employees to be able to work out, that could be in the morning, they get to work a little bit later. Lunchtime is a huge one, right? If you can make available some time during the day for your clients to go, your employees to go to work out and come back, that's going to be huge. It's going to increase performance. It's going to improve cognitive acuteness, right? So time is the easiest lever you can pull. Right?
And I think it's important that it's built into your culture, which we'll talk a little bit about that later, right? You can't suggest things, oh yes, you should do this, you should do that, and not have an environment conducive to that. A lot of small businesses will say, yes, we want to promote health, but you don't give employees time to do that. So it's very important to build that into your culture. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Allie will touch on that, and Allyson as well. But Eric, just another question for you is, when a small business is thinking about implementing a program like this, what are some examples you've had working with small businesses and wellness programs that you've organized for them, and how any small business could organize a program like that?
Yeah, it's simple. I mean, every business owner in here can go to a small studio like myself, 2,000 square feet, to the big box gyms. You can go to any fitness manager and have a conversation with them about setting something up.
Right.
We'll be more than happy to set it up, right? I have clients whose employers pay for one-on-one, that pay for boot camp, that allow them to come during the lunchtime. It's just having a conversation of what your employees want, right? And adjusting and having that conversation. Because some people love to work out in the morning. I don't, right? Some people love working out at night.
I don't like working out at all.
But, I don't, right? Every time I run a 6 a.m. boot camp class, and every morning I see people running by. Nope, not for me, right? So everyone's a little bit different, so having that conversation with your employees is going to be vital, right? So, coming to studios like myself, we'll be more than happy to set that up. I've had doctor groups, right, organizing a private boot camp class for all the employees to work out together, right? And it's 20 plus people working out together from the same practice, right? And the enjoyment that they got from it, and yes, 20 people, 20 different athletic, different fitness levels. We can adapt. Any good personal trainer worth their weight can adapt every single 20 of those people. It's that simple.
Awesome. I know from Access Health perspective, I know we're a bigger agency, but we've implemented small programs that have made a huge difference, right? We have this wellness fund, so we have all employees can get $100 towards a wellness activity or benefit for the year. And it's such a small thing, but it makes a huge difference, because then it gets employees thinking, hey, can I get new sneakers? Or, can I get a massage, or whatever that adds to the benefits of employee retention and productivity, because if they're not well, they can't do well through business, right? So I think that's really important.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest issues is accountability. I think everyone can agree that just being accountable to someone is actually very important to be healthy, right? Let it be a spouse, let it be a trainer, right? But the big box gyms, and I'm not trying to knock big box gyms, but you get kind of lost in the shuffle. Yep, we'll play for a membership. How many people have a WOW membership or an EDGE membership, right? It's $10, $15 a month. I see some chuckles, because it's probably about half the people in here, and you forget about it. Then you never use it, right? Especially with myself as a small business owner, right? I have 20 people that are taking my classes, that are accountable to me, that we have a personal relationship with, right? That there's accountability, right? And you create a culture within your business, you create a culture within that fitness organization that there's accountability and people enjoy doing it. Because it takes 4 to 6 weeks to develop new habits, right? If there's no accountability, as a business owner, you can just be paying for nothing.
Right.
And when it comes down to the bottom line, right, I don't want you wasting money.
Right. Very helpful points. So I'm going to move on to Allyson. And Allyson, could you discuss how employee assistance programs really contributes to employee well-being? I know we touched on that, but how they could be cost-effective really for small businesses. And Allie, you can add to that, right? And if you could give an example of a wellness initiative or program that you've experienced that has been successful, that would be helpful.
Sure. So thank you. So for those of you that aren't aware of what an employee assistance program is, it's typically offered through an organization as a benefit of employment. And we're structured as an assessment, brief counseling, and referral program. And they have sort of an interesting history going back like almost 100 years. They evolved around a period of time when it was commonplace to drink in the workplace. And so employers started noticing, performance issues, obviously, and employee assistance was born and demonstrated great success in addressing some of the performance problems or some of the productivity deficits way back then. So in the 60s, they expanded to start addressing more concerns. And so today, fast forward to today, employee assistance is a fairly low-cost program that can be put in place into any organization. I think, as I mentioned, our smallest organization is only 9 employees and is offered all the way up through, larger organizations like UConn Health. So it's a program that is costed out or billed out at a cost per employee per year. An employee assistance program for a small group like the 10-employee agency we have is about $300 a year. Up to a program for 100 employees would be in the neighborhood of $3,400 a year. And what that provides to the organization is, I always say, sort of a management tool. And again, employee assistance is designed to be easy access. Most of the folks that come to see us self-refer. They know about us. Their employers promote us routinely through our newsletter or inviting us in to speak at meetings and that sort of thing. So employees know about us. And when folks need us, they reach out. It's confidential. It's at no cost. And it's never used as a disciplinary process. It's always voluntary. And you can come to us for anything. We can talk to you about any stress in your life. It can be work-related. It's often about something outside of work that's impacting work. And we will meet with you a session or two, sometimes a little longer, and if necessary, help you find additional professional resources that are covered by your insurance. So very easy access. Employee assistance also for managers and supervisors, also HR folks, offers a place to send people or to recommend to people to help with a performance issue so that you don't have to figure out what's underneath it. As supervisors and managers or small business owners, you're worried about productivity, right? And if somebody has something going on, whether you know what it is or not, you just suspect, you don't really have to figure that out. You can, again, try and talk to employees about, the expectations of their job, but here's a place that might be able to help, and I would encourage you to reach out. So we're often used as a management tool in that respect. We can also come into small businesses and provide what we call debriefings around upsetting events that happen at work. So, the loss of an employee or someone's illness or that sort of thing, we can come in and do some small group sessions or be available on site to meet with folks one-on-one around any upsetting issue. So that's a part of what we do. And then consultation. Supervisors or HR folks often call us just to kind of talk through a concern or to get ideas around how to, address something that they have concerns about. So a little bit about us. And some well-being initiatives. I mean, I've seen so many creative ones. They are well-being initiative. EAP is just one piece of a well-being initiative, program in your workplace. So, as your organization sort of commits to wanting to put things in place, I mean, the two top, when we look at the research, the two top, areas that we want to address in any well-being initiative are physical fitness. I mean, the research shows over and over again that some sort of physical activity is instrumental in preventing us burnout, and that's certainly something we hear a lot about today. The other one is connection with each other. So when you put things in place, what you want to think about is, can I get my folks moving? And lots of folks will, respond to something like an on-site offering of some kind of activity, a boot camp, if you will. Others, will take you up on a discount at a gym, but some might more be inclined to, to participate in a challenge. So, we might suggest we had a recent stair climbing challenge, I think at UConn Health, and it was, again, voluntary. Nobody has to participate. You self-report, your progress. So it might be someone who just once a day decides to take the stairs, right? Takes the stairs rather than an elevator up to their floor, to the person that's out there walking on every break and climbing stairs over and over again. So the idea is to get everyone involved, do something together, and then maybe offer some incentives. When in this case, I think they gave out, $25 gift cards to Whole Foods. There were winners for people just for participating, where they drew names, and then they recognized like the top 2 or 3 performers as well. So fairly low cost, but involves everyone. People are doing something together, and it's addressing those two pieces: physical activity or exercise, and connection.
And I think it's important when you mention confidentiality in terms of the EAP and wellness initiatives, right? These are typically not mandated, but we do want to encourage employees. How do small businesses encourage employees to participate in wellness programs if they implement one, right? And let's talk a little bit about the legal aspects of privacy. What questions do you ask? What questions should you really not ask for these wellness programs, because they're not mandated, but we want to encourage employees to take advantage of that. And so I'll leave it up to any of you who'd want to address that.
Yeah, I'll take the fun privacy question. Yeah, I mean, I think it's about keeping in mind the laws that you utilize and the regulations that you utilize to guard anyone's health information, period. I mean, if you are a company that's doing anything with your employees' health, if you have any of their health information, you should have a separate personnel file and a separate medical file that's behind 2 locks. I mean, these are regulations that, you already should be following. But when it comes to wellness initiatives and, these fun activities and, things that you're trying to encourage people in, as long as you're not collecting, their private health information, you're pretty much in a safe spot. And that's not really what you're after anyway. You're not looking to get, what's your height and weight, and what was your running time this week, et cetera.
How many stairs did you take?
Yeah. And if employees are volunteering their information, they're voluntarily participating in a program, as long as you're not asking them personal questions you wouldn't otherwise ask, or collecting any health information and not following, the guidelines that you would normally follow when you're collecting health information, you're in a good spot, and I don't think you have to worry too terribly much.
Yeah. I think ultimately we know that this is an investment, however small of an investment it is for a small business. But ultimately, a small business owner, they do want to see the outcome of a wellness program, more productivity, right? Retaining more employees. And so I think there just has to be a balance when you're having those conversations. And we'll go right into corporate culture. right? And it doesn't have to be corporate America, but how your culture ties into implementing wellness programs, right? Is it conducive to, hey, yes, take your days off. Yes, take that 10-minute walk during lunch. Are you allowing your employees to actually do that? So how important is culture when we're talking about wellness programs? And I'll leave that to you, Allie, to start off.
Sure, yeah. Well, it's essential. I think that we can all agree that any of these initiatives, which are fabulous, don't matter if you don't have a company culture that supports them. If you have a company culture that discourages time off, if you're discouraging people from taking breaks, if you're, micromanaging them and, counting the clicks that they're making on their laptop every hour, like nobody is going to care that they're, they have a gym membership discount or anything like that, because they don't trust you as an employer. They don't feel psychologically safe with you as an employer. It's an us versus them mentality. So almost any other benefit that you offer, it almost doesn't matter because you're not supporting it within your own culture. In order to be able to successfully implement any kind of health and wellness initiative with your employees, they have to feel safe at work, they have to feel supported at work, and you have to provide them with a culture in which they feel that they can take advantage of these things and aren't going to be punished. If it's, oh, well, yeah, take a walk on your lunch hour, but the second you get back, they're like, why weren't you, I tried to call you and you weren't there, and why aren't you responding to this email, XYZ? They're never going to ever do it again. Right. So, you have to kind of put your money where your mouth is in terms of the health and wellness initiatives.
Right. And continue adding to that, what are some of the common challenges you've seen in small businesses when implementing a program, and how can they overcome that? I know we talked about how do we encourage employees, but what are some other challenges that you've seen that small businesses have when implementing a wellness program?
Yeah, so we've spoken a little bit about encouraging people on, actually participating. I think a lot of businesses will start these kinds of initiatives and then nobody signs up, or not a lot of people sign up, and so they just kind of fall away. And one of the things that we already, Eric, I think, pointed out is I think a lot of businesses try to offer these types of things as like after work benefits, or they try to offer it as some kind of, outside of work thing. And it doesn't work as well because the last thing you want to do at the end of your workday is continue to be at work. Like you want to go home. You have to go home because you have kids and you have a house and you have responsibilities that take up, that 5 to 9 period before you go to bed. So offering things during the workday, volunteering that technically work time is one of the best ways to encourage that participation. I think when people try to do things, again, that's very common. We'll go to a yoga class after work, et cetera. You're always going to see a lower turnout for those types of things. And then gamification is huge, making something a challenge, igniting people's emphasis on healthy competition. It really helps to get people involved, to get people engaged, and to help people connect, which is something that we often don't know that we're craving. We're all tired, we're all burnt out, we want to go home. But it's an event like today. If I weren't here today, I would be at home, working in my pajamas at my home office, to be perfectly, completely honest with you. But being here, it's a totally different, atmosphere. I'm connecting with other people in my industry, and that is what happens when, you get people to go for a walk together at lunch or go to a class together, et cetera. And it's something they often don't know that they're going to really get value out of until they do it. So offering it during the workday, gamifying it in some way, making it a challenge, making it fun, reminding people to tap into their sense of play in life. Those are the ways I think those are the challenges that small businesses have in terms of getting people involved, and those are kind of the solutions that they can go for.
Awesome. Anything to add, Allyson?
I would just add, I often talk to people about setting up programs, and I think one of the easiest ways is, as you said, identifying what you have already. Like, what are we doing now? What's working? What more do we need? And again, it should start at the top with your senior folks. I mean, there needs to be some buy-in. I see people oftentimes, like on the HR level, try and set things up. And, you know, again, working in silos is not, in small business, I think it's a little bit easier, but working in a silo isn't helpful. Everyone needs to sort of have a commitment to well-being for our organization. And then I think it's good to start with an engagement survey of some sort. Ask your folks what they want. What do they need? What's missing for them? What's getting in the way of them feeling, you know, present at work? I mean, are they feeling burnt out? Are they feeling, you know, stress? Those are all normal things. There's no shame in that. It's a tough place today, particularly since the pandemic. And like you said, so many folks are removed from the workplace at times, so they're not connecting as much, and that can be stressful. So what do you need? You need more opportunities to come together. What's missing for you? So ask your folks. And then maybe consider setting up a committee of people interested in sort of being your well-being committee that can come up with some fun ideas. You know, like I've seen things like, you know, pulling people together for, you know, a routine monthly meeting where everyone brings their favorite healthy recipe, or a group this month is responsible for making something, you know, healthy for the lunch. Or, you know, with a small group you can do that. Or I've seen groups bring in like therapy dogs, which is a really fun thing to do. Seems silly, but it really is fun and stress relieving for people. So ask folks what they want, ask for their ideas, and then try some of them on.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Sorry. The other thing I'll add is offering, I mean, when we're talking about the workplace, we're talking about adults. So for adults, it's choice. Choice is a big way to get people engaged and to get people to utilize your wellness benefits. Not everyone thinks of health and wellness in the same way, and not everyone is going to respond to the same type of, you know, initiative. So things like you mentioned, like a wellness stipend, are a fabulous way to help employees on their health and wellness journeys, without tying them to a specific thing. You know, I mean, and not to say that the, you know, run clubs and intramural sports that people do and all these great initiatives aren't fabulous, but you're never going to be able to get everyone with that type of a thing. So offering your employees the choice of how they want to use this health and wellness benefit is a fabulous way to get people engaged.
Yes, that's a very important part. I know we have a very diverse employee population at Access Health, and this wellness fund was extremely popular because there was a choice. Maybe I get sneakers, maybe I get a massage, you know, who knows? So
Maybe.
I think it's important. But, you know, while we're talking about all of this, and from a small business perspective, it's not, sometimes as an owner, you're just looking at the cost, right? This is going to be expensive. This is going to be hard to implement. I want you to also think about retention and how much it costs to lose employees, right? When you have to take the time to retrain someone, how much time and effort does that take? How much time does that take away from the owner actually doing work for the business? And so when I talk to a lot of small businesses, they look at wellness programs as this huge cost up front, and it's going to be hard. It's you know, they don't see the benefits up front, but you have to consider the back end, how much it's costing you to lose employees, not being able to retain good employees, right? There's huge costs in that. So when we're talking about wellness, we do want employees to be well and happy, but on the back end, this is absolutely impacting your bottom line as a small business owner, right? So I think it's very important that we all consider that. I see some faces like, oh yeah, gym memberships, you know. Employee wellness, it's a really important part of our culture nowadays. We have the Googles and the Amazons, the free lunches for their employees, and so it's a very important part of the workplace. And more small businesses would be really successful if you could hang on to those good employees, right? By making sure that they're well inside and outside of the workplace. So thank you all for, you know what, one more question for you, Allie. I know we've talked about wellness programs. Could you just give us high level some benefits, HR benefits that would be helpful for small businesses to offer employees? in terms of
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think Eric, kind of hit the nail on the head when he talked about, are you doing the free stuff? A lot of this stuff is not particularly, expensive or is even free. Things like, again, creating that connection. It doesn't really cost anything to have a stare contest, maybe, or not staring, but stair climbing competition. You're just asking people to climb stairs, and maybe the cost is having, an Excel spreadsheet to track it. That stuff is so impactful and can be so helpful and fun for people. And, a few $25 gift cards, that's nothing. Offering the free stuff first. Employee resource groups, clubs, what are your employees into? I have a client who, they have only like 10 or 15 employees, but most of them are runners. Fabulous. So they started a run club, and they have a Slack chat for the runners, and they all share their progress. And, it doesn't cost them a dime, but they're able to do that. And then getting into things that do have costs. I wish every one of my clients had an EAP. It is a low-cost program, and I can't count the amount of times where I have sent, employees over to an EAP because I didn't know how to handle their, what was going on with them, whether it was grief or mental health issues or physical health issues, financial issues, anything, which are all, part of our overall wellness. So having that EAP, I think, is such a low-cost initiative. If I could make every small business in the state have access to that, I definitely would. And then, access to health insurance is one of the most important things that you can possibly offer as a business. And it is expensive and it is difficult. But, again, all these things it's great. But if you can't go to the doctor when you're sick, if you can't get your physicals, because we all know that getting those, yearly exams and tests and things like that, those are some of the most important things that you can do for your health in terms of preventing disease and preventing, burnout later on. So offering health insurance, finding a way, we were just talking about health insurance stipends this morning. There are creative ways that small businesses can offer health insurance to their employees. And it is one of the most important health and wellness initiatives that you can kind of put into place.
And there are so many options for small businesses now, more than ever before. So if you've looked into health insurance before and it was unattainable to you, I really encourage you to talk to our small business team. We have brokers here as well, lots of options for small businesses. And I think, again, wellness, you look at it and you may not see the immediate benefits. Really, you can't have those direct conversations. How many stairs did you take today? And did you go to see the doctor? But on the back end, you will see those savings for your business in terms of retention, in terms of productivity, right? We are in the culture of quiet quitting, where you hire folks and they're doing the bare minimum because they're not motivated and they really are not feeling appreciated. So these programs are really just a great way to show your appreciation for your employees and keeping them happy and healthy. Okay, I see Deb standing up. That's my time. I will open it up for any questions that you may have. Deb, we have one.
Thank you so much. First off, I want to echo what you said about an EAP program. I'm a small business owner in Partners with Others, and in a time when finding access to mental health on your own is just challenging from an availability standpoint, I think it's critically important. My question for the group is in a hybrid work environment. I think it presents both opportunity and challenge. And I know that's kind of a big question to close, but I'd just love some thinking on that, because I think about culturally, if you're within an organization that can really encourage that as the time back, right? Maybe to do that workout or something. I think it starts at the top. I think it's a cultural thing that really needs to be utilized as a positive, but I'd love to hear some thoughts on that.
Yeah, I'll take it. That work-life balance really does start from the top. If you're a business owner and you don't value being active and healthy, you can have all the incentives all you want. It's like going to the doctors and there are beads, or going to a dentist and they have bad teeth. They're not necessarily It happens, right? And so starting from the top and having that hybrid model, I have a lot of clients now that are in that hybrid model, which actually helped me out because now I actually see a lot more clients midday instead of before work, after work, right? So making that time available during the day is gonna be crucial, right? I have clients Tuesday, Thursdays that come at noon or 1 or 11 because their employer allows it, right? So it's gonna be this balancing act now, but it's definitely attainable, probably easier now because you can actually be in office, 2 or 3 days a week, and then a flexible schedule on those other 2-3 days, and making it so, or really as an employer, making it known that block your schedule off, make yourself unavailable. Is it allowed, right? Because some, I have a lot of clients that just magically have, meetings at certain times, right? And it looks like they're busy. Hey, I'm telling you from my end, I know all the tricks. Or isn't there like apps or putting a spoon or something like that on mouses, right? Yeah, it's amazing what happens.
It's exposing.
But creating that time, let it be known as an employer that, hey, I want you to do this, right?
And I think to add to that, I think the hybrid environment encourages this even more because there's things you can add in, a Zoom session. Maybe it's a 5-minute yoga meditation. Who knows? There's so many things that you can add during the hybrid environment as well to keep everyone engaged.
And just once again, from the training side, are your employees staring at a screen for 8 hours? I hear this all the time now. They're probably bigger companies, RTX, Pratt and stuff, and they're 8-12 hours of 1-hour Zoom meetings, and they are burnt by the time they get to me, right? Even though they're coming to me to train, they're fried. And they're like an inch away from just quitting, but there's nowhere else to go, right? So
Quiet
it's
quitting.
Yeah, right? I'm telling you, look at your employee schedules, right? And if there's 8 1-hour meetings, man, that's good luck. They're gonna quit soon.
I want to speak to the hybrid question as well, because this is something that we talk about a lot in EAP sessions is, if you ask folks who are working either remotely or on a hybrid schedule, do you like it? Do you want to come back? I mean, 99% of them say, I like it. I like having, this hybrid schedule, or I like to work from home. And those that don't want it. And yet, I can't tell you how many people I see that are working those schedules that aren't doing well. And I think it speaks to the fact that what you're describing happens is folks aren't organizing themselves as well as they can because they're not doing well. If we can give them permission to have some flexibility in their workday to do things like what you're describing, they're going to do it anyway. Let's give them the opportunity to do it. Let's encourage it. By saying you can work, you can shift your day if you need to, or if you need to start earlier. I mean, one of the biggest things people ask for at UConn is more flexibility in their schedule around childcare, around things like needing to take care of themselves. And sometimes managers dig in their heels and say, no, you have to be available from 8 to 5. And, it really doesn't matter a lot. If I saw somebody this week that just shifting her schedule from 8:15 to 5:15 relieved a tremendous amount of stress for her. She is going to be a more productive employee because she's not worried about juggling getting kids where they need to go. So again, thinking about that, people are working hybrid schedules. I don't think we're going to see that change for the most part. I think that has become the norm for an awful lot of us. But we have to learn how to organize ourselves well. I mean, I know people that say, I don't have to ever do laundry on the weekend anymore. I'm really good about running downstairs and throwing in a load of laundry. And I see other people that are sitting in front of their computer, not doing well all day long, not figuring out how to balance this little bit of extra time you now got, right? I mean, without a commute and without all the, the coffee pot chatter that goes on, or the break room sort of stuff. I mean, you've got more time in your day. So organize yourself in a way, and we do a lot of that with folks to help them sort of organize themselves. So just some thoughts about hybrid. It's good and it's bad.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'll add that, I mean, working remote, I work mostly remote, and I love it, and I wouldn't change it for the world. But it took a lot of getting used to. For a while there, it was me alone in my home office, and I started to talk to my cats, probably like a little bit too much. But because you still crave that connection. You still want to feel connected to your organization and to the people that you work with. So supporting them on the journey, especially if they're new to working from home, supporting them in terms of figuring out how to organize themselves, how they want to organize their day, what works for them. Creating opportunities still to connect with each other, even though you might be working from home or working hybrid 3 days a week at home, what have you. I think is a big part of wellness overall, because it really can turn into 8 hours in front of the screen. There's another screen on in the background so that, you can listen to the news or whatever while you're doing this screen, and then you got the little screen. It can really, I think, get to people mentally and physically. And I think it's something that organizations have a lot of power to correct and to, offer employees opportunities to still connect, to still get outside, to encourage them to have a balance in their day that they would in the office, where they'd be walking around and talking to people and taking breaks.
And I know we talk a lot about small businesses, but I know that there's probably some solo entrepreneurs here. Maybe it's just you and just one other employee. This goes for you as well, right? Prioritizing your wellness will directly impact how well you do your business. And so just because we're talking about, businesses with a lot of employees or maybe up to 10 employees, this goes for the solo entrepreneurs as well that are doing every function of their business. It's really important that you prioritize your health. Make sure you have health insurance. Make sure you're getting out, getting some sunlight, getting some activity, and taking care of your mental health. That directly impacts your business and your bottom line as well. And I think we forget that because, as a previous entrepreneur, you get caught into doing every single part of your business and you forget that. And so that will cost you as well. So this is not just, benefits for...
And this is what I preach to my clients, is living an active, healthy lifestyle. And I see a lot of parents and a lot of moms, and to be selfish is very hard for moms, easier for dads. Sorry about that, right? But if you don't prioritize your health, your well-being, right, your body will force you to make time. It's up to you, right? So you could take care of it now because you literally only have one body to live in, right? Take care of it, right? Your mental well-being, all that stuff. And once again, it starts from the top. And if you're not taking care of yourself, right, a lot of bad things are going to happen, right? Prioritize yourself. Be selfish, right? I'm telling you right now, it's if I can nail that through your head, it's be selfish, take care of your body. You're going to live a longer healthier lifestyle. So, yeah.
Great. Another question. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Vanessa. I own My Local Chefs, and we are a digital health company, and we work with creating custom nutrition programs, food literacy, so we do cooking demos and classes and fun stuff.
That's amazing.
I think so. So my question is how does a company like mine actually become a resource to be able to work with the employees and with your companies, things like that?
Come over and chat at my booth. I'm right outside of there at the end of this. Yeah, no. That's a fabulous business idea. I think that's really cool. I could definitely use a cooking demo or 2 or 5. But
every day of the week.
Yeah, no. But yeah, I think you're off to a great start. First of all, by coming to an event like this, because you're going to meet tons of small businesses who like what you have to offer. But yeah, getting involved in the small business community, because I do the same thing that you do. I'm a business to business. We're a small business helping a group of small businesses, essentially. So getting out there to events like this, in terms of becoming a resource, having set packages, I think, is really helpful, and maybe you already do. But being able to walk businesses through, these are the ways that you can use our services. Having a variety of price points, because small businesses, it's a big range in terms of what they can afford. And then being as flexible as possible for small businesses, being able to, and it might be, I'm not asking you to go completely out of your way all the time, but being able to tailor your services to what a business needs and what they can afford and what they want to do is a superpower that I think small organizations like yourself can have that larger organizations don't. They get stuck in the packages, and they get stuck in, you can do it this way, and you're locked in for a year. You have that flexibility superpower because you're the captain of the ship. But it's a really cool business idea, and I would personally love to chat with you because I think a lot of small businesses could utilize your services just the same way that they would a gym membership.
Exactly. I was going to say, Eric touched on that earlier with his partnerships with other small businesses. I think you can make that same connection and offer that to, say a doctor's office. I know personally I would love for someone to deliver meals to my door. But yes, those collaborations will be important. And so maybe, you can recruit and promote yourself to consumers, but I think promoting yourself to maybe a small gym or fitness center or another business is a good way to go. Awesome.
I would encourage you to reach out to larger organizations as well, because again, it's a novel idea, and I know at UConn we just did a huge health and wellness fair and had all kinds of interesting folks there. So reaching out to some of the folks at the larger organizations as well. Okay, great.
Awesome.
Good. Yeah.
Wow. Leave some information for Access Health. I know we'd love some. It's Karen. Okay, I'm told we have
My name is
time
Mary.
for one more.
I might be off the track a little bit, but I was thinking if I work part-time 32 hours a week and
How many hours? I'm
32.
sorry.
32.
Okay.
8 hours a day. And I think that the people who are hiring should scrutinize the resume a little tighter for everybody that comes in. Read it carefully and appreciate what maybe the employee has to offer instead of just pulling it off and just being lucky to hire with somebody. And then pay them accordingly. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's always important, and that ties into wellness as well. If an employee is not making a meaningful wage to support themselves and their family, that will in turn impact your business and their productivity. So you're absolutely right on that. Thank you for that comment. Okay, I'm told we are out of time. Thank you so much for being here. I hope we have provided some helpful strategies for you to take away, and feel free to ask us any questions as we roam around and enjoy the rest of the conference.